All right, what does that little mark mean right there? 90. Okay, and then there's something called, I don't want to say it actually, but this is a straight line. So what is the measure of this angle here? Also 90, because, well, I'll leave that mark, but those two are called a linear pair. Do you remember that? So two angles that add up to 180 or make a straight line. Okay.
Could we please have any staff member that is currently on a plan go to the small gym, please? Thank you.
She screamed at me. I have to go so bad.
I can't let you go, sorry.
Okay, what if I just walk out and I'll
No.
come back? Will I get in trouble?
Yeah, by somebody.
I haven't been since like first period.
I understand. Linear pair makes a straight line. Does anybody remember the S word that also describes this situation?
Bro, are you gonna let them in?
No, I'm not.
He does not care. What if it's like one of them?
I'm sure.
What if
Those
it's a
guys.
shooter? Or a nigger?
She says go quickly to class and not go get breakfast. So, the other word. What is the other word for angles that add up to 180 degrees?
Supplementary.
Good.
They knocked.
I don't know where you guys. All right. Anyway, so these three angles have to add up to 90.
Oh my God.
Teachers, we are still in shelter in place. Please only let the groups leave that we have called for. Right now, it's just the wind ensemble students to the library. Thank you.
So these three angles, 5x has to add up to 90 degrees on the other side of that vertical line. So that gives x as 18, and then if we just plug 18 in for 3x, we get 54. Okay? How'd you do on that?
Great.
So not too bad of geometry? There's not a lot of geometry on SAT, actually. But there is some. Alright, this one, writing an equation for that line in, this is standard form. I wouldn't probably start with standard form, but you can. So, how did you do it?
Turn it into
Okay, like slope intercept?
Yeah.
So he's talking about this, y equals mx plus b. So we need, this is one way. We need to find the slope and the y-intercept. So we know the y-intercept right now, which is what? -4. And how do you find the slope? It literally is just rise over run. You could pick any two of these points. So there's rise and there's run. What's the rise? So it went, oh, I went too high. Sorry. Let's see. There we go. What the heck? Let me get my head screwed on right here. That better?
Yes.
Sorry about that. What's the rise now? 4. But negative. So it's coming down. What's the run? 4. So what? How can we rewrite that? Negative x minus 4. Okay, and then just turn that into one of these. Which one will that be? Just add x over, and you'll get c. We are, so the SAT, I think, is on Tuesday the 15th. It's on Tuesday. I'm pretty sure the date is the 15th of April. So, about 6 weeks. We are going to take the entire week before that and drop all Algebra 2 and just do completely SAT prep. So, know that that's coming. I think it's a good thing to do for this. And this will be some of it, because it seems like students struggle with anything linear. So writing equations, finding slope, parallel, perpendicular, all that kind of stuff. That'll be part of it. But there'll be a lot more of it. Did anybody get both of those based on actual work? Just one? and a kinda, 2 and a kinda.
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it would be nice if you didn't talk so much.
I do have a question though. Is our test on Wednesdays?
Yeah, your test is for
Can we
this
push
class
it
is
back?
Wednesday.
Can
No,
we push
it's Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
Alright, let's check your
We
homework.
won't be in class on Tuesday.
So can we get the review?
Yeah, remind me, don't leave without it.
Okay.
Who's not gonna be here
Because
tomorrow?
we have to take the AP long thing.
Okay, so I'll hand you the review today. Alright, so here's your check on the homework problems. Go ahead and grab those. Grab your homework problems, we're checking. So number 1, x equals -9. Number 2, x equals 50. Number 3, x equals -3. Number 4, x equals -14. Number 5, x equals -4. Number 6, x equals -5. Number 7, x equals x equals just 7. And number 8, x equals 8. How'd that go?
Good, but we like skimmed it.
Like to the top? Okay. You will have, I think, 4 solving problems on your, 4 or 5 on your test. Of various levels. It's not all super involved. I want you to answer this question for yourself, and then you can share if you feel like it, but what was the hardest one on here for you? And then once you've kind of decided that, ask yourself why. Like what about it made it hard? And then maybe focus your studying on that. Any of these you'd like to do, or is what's here good enough for you? Did anybody pick number 3 as the hardest one?
No, because we did all of them.
We did.
Yep.
Well, never mind then. Okay, I was just curious. 7. You know what I just thought? I wanted to point out some specific cases where this is sometimes students are confused by this, but it's a really nice situation when you run into it when you're solving like this. And it's when you have some kind of a fraction, even if it's got a bunch of junk in it, set equal to 0. What can you do to get this solved from here? So when we did the notes, we talked about 2 different methods. We said find a common denominator across the equal sign and then just set numerators equal. Or you can do the butterfly, the cross multiply and set equal. Either way. But this doesn't have that. And it's kind of a similar thing if it has just a whole number there. You know, like if this was 10 instead of 0. How do you solve that from there? Let's do the first one. Well, I'm glad we're talking about this. Here's how I want you to think about it. I want you to think about this whole thing as a chunk or a piece together. And what if it says...
Attention staff and students, please listen carefully. We will begin a reunification.
Helpful. So when you look at this, look at it as divided by something. And then to undo division, we multiply. And then we do that to cancel those, right? But what's nice when it's set equal to 0 is that whole side becomes just 0. And so we just have x minus 50 equals 0. Okay? So when you have a 0 on the other side, it really helps simplify a rational expression. Okay? And then if we had a non-zero, like a 10, By the way, this comes from one of your homework problems, and it did end up with a 0. So you would do the same thing, just multiply by that whole chunk on both sides. Those cancel, that side of course stays at 0, and you're just left with 20 plus 5x equals 0. If it was not 0, then we would do like 10 times this, distribute, and then we'd have a quadratic to solve.